Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the Fortress Podcast. I am your host, Michael, with my fellow co host, Caleb.
Hello, hello, welcome back.
We got another exciting episode for you on the Fortress Podcast.
It's
I
nice
forget what
to
the topic for.
do what?
What's the topic? I forgot.
We're doing DC
Yes,
movies.
that's right. DC What Ifs.
Yeah, it was nice to get more of a classic style intro from you this time.
Yeah, I'm working my way through a Celsius, so
Oh,
I'm
sweet.
hyped.
That's how it was back when we first started, the real hype
Always.
intros. All
If
right.
you want a throwback,
Yeah.
make sure you hit the subscribe
Oh,
button,
Lord.
hit the notification bell, and make sure you turn on notifications. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Cringe.
Always.
do do YouTubers still even say that in their videos anymore? It's been forever since I've heard a YouTuber like unironically say that in their videos.
Nowadays it's more YouTube's a lot more analytic driven now,
Hmm.
so that they do kind of mention about like subscribing and turning on the post notifications
Okay.
just to get you there within like the first couple hours, and then they don't do it as like hyped as I do it,
I gotcha.
but then sometimes they just have a little thing at the bottom of the screen that really just kind of covers it.
Yeah, I see that more often than I see people being like, subscribe, all that stuff. I see more just like the little icons or whatever.
It really depends on the personality of the YouTuber
That's
and kind of
true.
like their content.
Yeah,
So
that's true. But yeah, we're here today to talk about DC Comics on film. Of course, the first episode that we did back a couple months ago was on Star Wars and the current state of that franchise. Last week we talked about Marvel and the MCU and all that stuff. And now we're kind of rounding out the trio with DC on film. Um,
arguably the worst history out of the three,
the worst
or
history.
at least inconsistency in terms of quality.
Yeah, the most inconsistent history, but I'd say the one that I'm probably, at least at this current point in time, the one I'm most optimistic for. That doesn't mean that I don't have things that I'm like concerned about or anything like that, but on the whole, I am more optimistic about DC than I am the future of Star Wars and MCU. Um, but it'll be interesting to talk about it because I don't think you and I have really talked about DC much at all since the James Gunn, especially since the slate got announced this time last year.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, because there's been some interesting developments on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So I'm excited to talk about it, and it's going to be really interesting for us to talk because I know that we are already coming at this from different points of view because I know you're a much bigger fan of Snyder's movies and the Snyderverse stuff than I am. So it's going to be.
Listen, if they had just stuck with Snyder, all right, the DCEU would be at least somewhat decent, but it would definitely be better than what we have.
It would be more consistent. Um,
Yes,
yeah,
but then also the quality would just be so much better. I mean, just look at Snyder Cut of Justice League and how much everybody enjoyed that versus the Whedon cut.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting talking to you about this.
I'm a Snyder diehard, all right? That's all I gotta say.
I don't. So my thing with the Snyder Cut is I ultimately do like that version a lot better than the Joss Whedon version. I think that there's still a better movie, a better version of that movie out there that hasn't been made yet. I think you could cut that movie down to 2.5 hours, and it is instantly the best version of that movie you could get. I think the Snyder version is way too long, um, which is ironic because the Whedon version is too short, and just not good for multiple other reasons. But I think that there is a perfect version of that movie that is shorter than Snyder's version. Um, I just don't think the 4 hours was the way to do that.
I mean, compared to the Whedon cut, the scenes that were definitely added and or expanded on definitely makes up the I would say makes up for the extended runtime. Just because obviously it just either the scenes were expanded on in terms of length or cut differently, it just makes it flow a lot better. Obviously, yes, it is a grind to sit there and watch it, but the way it's cut up, you can watch like two chapters because I think it's like split into four chapters. Watch two, that's one movie, and then go back and watch it the other half.
That is a huge blessing because I've only seen that movie the one time that we watched it together. That's the only time I've seen it. So, I mean, at this point, it's been almost 2 years. That movie was difficult to get through because, so the Whedon cut of that movie is 2 hours long. The Snyder, it's exactly 2 hours long. The Snyder cut is exactly 4 hours long. And t- when I was watching it, the story, at least as far as I'm remembering, didn't actually get started until about the 152 hour mark because everything for those first 2 hours is just setup. And you can keep a little bit of that in there, but so much of it I remember feeling real kind of pointless overall. And so it just, those first 2 hours are really hard to get through. But that second half, I remember enjoying a lot more and is a legitimately really good movie. I think you just don't need a full 2 hours of setup before you get to that point. I think you could cut that down to 20, 30 minutes at most, and then have the second half of the movie stay unchanged.
I mean that probably is valid, but I feel like having that 2 hours helps get you helps get you into the mindset of each character because each character does get about I don't know 15 30 minutes of just kind of exploring their backstory and getting into their mindset of where they're at within the story. So then that way, when things happen in the second and third act later on in the film, it kind of makes sense to their character.
Yeah, I need to watch that again because I'm not immediately remembering like everything that
Honestly,
happened.
it's been a minute for me too.
Yeah, I need to rewatch that, but I do agree that that it was very smart of them to do the chapters thing so that way you can at least break that up a little bit, um, because that is hard. Like I was telling you off camera, I just finished watching like a 3.5 hour long movie, and I split it up over 2 days. I just didn't have the time to do it in one sitting, but like it's hard to sit there for 3.5, 4 hours watching a movie.
I
Um,
mean, if it's fairly written, it's not that hard. Because like when I watch, was Endgame that has the three and a half, uh, 3.5 hour mark, I think.
Endgame's only 2.5 hours. Let me check, but I'm
Was
pretty
it two
sure.
and a half? Which one? Which one's three? One of those has like the really kind of extended
Oh,
runtime.
oh no, Endgame is 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Oh, it's 3 hours. Okay,
Yeah,
so yeah, not exactly three and a half, but if it's well written, it doesn't feel like 3 hours.
yeah,
Because that's what every time I watch Endgame, it's like, oh, it's 2 hours has gone by. But when you actually look at the clock, it's 3 hours.
Yeah. No, that's
So
true.
it all really depends on the writing,
Yeah.
realistically.
But but yeah, so we're just gonna talk about kind of where DC's at the moment, because they just had probably their busiest year, just as far as sheer amount of stuff that's been released. Um,
Not bringing in the money though.
nope. I think every single one of these has been a flop, hasn't it? Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
let me see what Aquaman's doing because I haven't checked on that in a
Does
minute.
that drop?
Aquaman came out like 3 weeks ago.
No.
Yeah, no,
I was gonna say it just shows you how much I pay attention to DC films now.
yeah, I'm looking to see what the box office um, has been for that.
Probably not good. Because of what? So we've had obviously Aquaman 2 now, Blue Beetle, The Flash, Shazam 2. Am I missing anything else, or is it?
It's so far it's made 373 million.
What was his budget?
I'm trying to find that.
Because
Uh,
that sounds like an average number, although I'll be I think on the lower end.
Let me pull up the budget real quick and see.
Quick, Jamie, pull it up.
We
You
need
you
that.
do you watch Joe Rogan?
I've seen clips of it. I haven't listened to a full episode.
That's what we need. We need our own Jamie. He's the guy sitting on the side, controlling like the computer, and is able to throw stuff on the screen for them to look at. That's
Just
what we need.
just to do quick research.
Yes.
So the film had a $200 million budget. So it might actually.
Okay.
No, that one
So at
might
least got
actually.
his money back.
Yeah, because the way that it's determined if it's a success, if it makes its money back plus double that. So it might actually be considered a success if it reaches 400 million. Just barely a success. Um,
Barely, yeah. But
just
what's
barely.
the fans' opinion on it? Do you have
Let
you
me.
have those stats or no?
I think most of the reviews have just been um,
Eh.
meh. Yeah. I'm going to Rotten Tomatoes, which is a site I don't love, but okay, so it
That,
had
that would at least accurate fan side. I feel
okay,
like the fan poll or whatnot.
so you so just further divide between critics and audience opinions. It has a 35% critic score and 81% audience score.
Sounds like a typical comic book movie.
Yeah, which
Low critic, high fan.
to be fair, the way that Rotten Tomatoes does it isn't the most accurate way to judge like whether a movie's good or not because it bases it off of people giving it a positive score or like a thumbs up or a thumbs down basically. So it's like 81% of people gave it a thumbs up, but it doesn't tell you how many of those people loved the movie versus were just like kind of lukewarm towards it. And so
Yeah.
all of that fits within that 81%. So just because it's 81% doesn't mean that it's a great movie or that people are loving it. Just that 81% of people who wrote reviews on Rotten Tomatoes gave it a positive review. Um, but that's still, I mean, that's still more positive than I would have expected.
Can you pull up the Blue Beetle, The Flash, and Shazam 2?
Yep.
Uh, I'm curious to see how those compare to Aquaman 2, because obviously looking at the other three, their track records at the box office, I think they
Dear
either
Lord.
met or didn't make their budget, but then also just poorly received by fans.
So Blue Beetle is 78% critic score, 91% audience score.
Oh, okay, I did do a little better.
Um, Flash is next.
Hey, did you try watching that?
I have not. Okay, this is what I mean. No, I haven't seen it yet. This is what I mean when I say that this is not the most accurate way to judge these things because it has an 83% audience score. I have literally never heard one person say a positive thing about this movie other than, it was all right. Like, that's the most positive I've heard about this movie.
Oh no, it was terrible. I got
Yeah.
halfway through it before I turned it off. I
No,
was like, nah, I can't keep watching this.
that's what I'm saying is the most positive I've heard from this is, it's all right. Most of it has been very negative. It has a 63% critic score, 83% audience score.
Yeah, that's not even remotely accurate.
And then finally, Shazam 2, 49% critic score, 86% audience.
Yeah, just all around kind of films.
So yeah, I mean they've had their most packed year in 23 as far as just the amount of movies coming out. But as far as like reception goes, people have not been digging on these movies, um, at least from what we've heard. Um, like,
So yeah, we very few we haven't watched them or seen, or we probably seen like a little bit, like I've seen a little bit of The Flash, but as far as some like the other films, I haven't seen any,
I
and you can tell how we react to them.
I was talking to my wife Priscilla the other day, um, talking about the Aquaman thing, and I was telling her it's hilarious that Aquaman for decades used to be the butt of jokes for for like comic book fans and like stuff like that, where everyone would make fun of Aquaman, and then he finally got a movie, and it somehow did over $1 billion. It's one of the most successful superhero movies ever made, and then the sequel comes out, and people aren't going to see it, except now that I'm looking at the numbers, apparently people did go to see it, at least
Well, I
somewhat.
mean, part of it's due to, I guess, being looped into DC, the DCEU, or at least the recent reboot or whatever, with trying to figure out that timeline. But then also probably largely in part due to Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp case from last year before, where a lot of people were calling her or calling to Warner Brothers exec to just remove her from the film.
Yeah.
And I heard that I did hear that her part was reduced, but I was just having not seen the film. I don't know how much she's actually in it.
From my understanding, they cut down almost all of her scenes. There were just one or two that they couldn't get rid of because they were too like essential to the story, and it was too late to reshoot, as far as I
Yeah.
understand. So they did keep like one or two scenes, but like most of her stuff was cut from the movie.
Yes. So with that, and then obviously, I think the Flashpoint was supposed to reboot the DCU, but then everything else, that all these movies that come after it technically take place in the old timeline, I believe. Like it was because a lot of the shuffling of COVID kind of put everything off. So like a couple of these are supposed to be before Flashpoint, a couple of these are supposed to be after. They don't have their story straight.
Yeah, that's the thing that's most frustrating with this whole reboot is the fact that they're not just being clear with how the reboot is being handled. Like, is it just a ground up reboot the same way that Amazing Spider-Man was to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, where like it wasn't nothing carried over, it was its own fresh thing? Or is this a reboot that happens because of the events of The Flash and certain actors are sticking, others are being recast? Like they're not being clear on that, and I think that's causing a lot of the confusion. Um,
So, do
well,
we have any cast actually crossing over? Because they fired or got rid of the big three.
mm-hmm. Uh,
That's another topic we can go to is the drama on the casting side. Because were their contracts up with I guess the Flash and Snyder Cut or whatnot, and then that's what they tried to renew, but didn't. But
well,
then they keep bringing them in for like cameos and stuff, and then eventually they're like, "Now we're just gonna go our own way and just recast."
well, I don't know. I know that they've said that they're open to bringing back some of those actors in new roles. So, like, the big one that's being talked about is like Jason Momoa as Lobo. Um,
That would be a good one.
that would be good casting. I think that's legitimately a really good casting choice.
I think that would have been a better cast for him than Aquaman.
I agree.
Because obviously, I guess they are trying to go for this newer, like edgy Aquaman, try and get him away from the, like you said, the butt of all jokes in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what he would definitely look a lot better as Lobo.
Yeah.
And then I know with like talking about acting, I know Big H Henry Cavill got caught up with The Witcher season 3 or 4. You know where that was most of his time, but then due to conflicts with the producers, he left that production, which opened up his schedule. And so I think Warner Bros. Like tried to get him back onto their movies, but then that didn't work out because they reduced the Superman character to like cameos or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like it was all over the place there a few years because like they basically fired the big three, hired them back, but then aren't doing anything with their characters or whatnot.
Yeah. And it's so weird because there have been rumors, which, as far as I know, James Gunn has kind of debunked that Gal Gadot would be returning as Wonder Woman. Or at least he's been kind of iffy about it. I don't know if he's like directly debunked it. But that would be so weird after getting rid of Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck
Black.
under the guise of this is a complete reboot. If you're completely straight up rebooting, that's great. Don't bring back any of those actors. Um, but you can't bring back, and like they have to know that that is horrible marketing because if you bring back Gal Gadot after you fired Henry Cavill, knowing that there is such a huge fan base for Cavill as Superman, like that is just that is destructive marketing right there. Like they have to know that that's a bad idea, right?
I would assume so.
I-
I don't obviously coming from like the fan side of it, that seems like a no-brainer type of call. But obviously the execs really only care about bringing in the money now versus trying to deal with fan appeal.
But you would think that would hurt income though, at least a little bit, at least to some extent, because even people like me who aren't big fans of Snyder and Snyder's direction, there's a lot of us who think that if under a different director, Henry Cavill would have been a perfect choice for Superman. I think the problem with his Superman isn't his acting. For me, it's just the writing and the directing. That's the problem with that. So I would love to see him given a better shot at Superman. And I know that there are a lot of other people who are the same way, who aren't big Snyder fans, but want to see Henry Cavill be given another shot. So if you get rid of him, you get rid of Affleck, who again, I have the same thing with under better writing. I think could have been the definitive Batman, just didn't have the right material to work with. You don't
Did you see who they replaced him with?
Clooney.
Yep, they brought back Clooney for the post credit scene of Flash.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. You bring back arguably the most hated version of Batman as
Yeah.
your quote unquote main Batman for now.
Which that was the moment where I realized that Flash was not going to be rebooting into the new universe because there's no way you bring back Clooney as your main Batman. I wouldn't think.
I don't know. They did bring back Keaton for that film, so it would be interesting to see, if they decide to go with like the older Bruce Wayne kind of story. More middle of his career till the toward the end kind of thing.
I wouldn't think you would do that after doing that with Affleck. I think you would want to do it different, especially since they're going with the younger Superman again. And my thinking is that they're going to go more of a comics accurate thing where Superman and Batman are much closer in age, and do it like that. Um, Possibly, I don't know. Um, we don't know much about what their Batman movie is going to be, other than that has Damian Wayne in it. Which, I mean,
Did they confirm that?
yeah, no, that's how Gunn pitched it when he announced the slate. Was it's going to be called Brave and the Bold, and it's going to be an
Oh
adapt,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
an adaptation of that early stuff where Damian's first introduced.
Ooh, live action son of Batman. Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't think that they'd bring back Clooney. I also don't want to. They're doing a reboot. Don't bring back an actor from 30 years ago to play Batman. Like, Cass, did you hear the rumor that I'm blanking on the actor's name, but the guy who played Hawk in Titans, that he
Oh, Alan Richardson.
yeah, that he was in the running to be the Batman, the new
That'd
Batman.
be an interesting choice.
Yeah, I haven't
He,
se-
he he is Batman. I don't think he'd be a good Bruce Wayne.
I haven't seen him in I haven't seen him in really much anything, so I don't know. Um,
Reacher's good. If you have Amazon, I'd definitely recommend watching Reacher.
okay,
Season 2 dropped a couple weeks ago. I need to go and watch that, but he's good in that. Obviously, he was in Titans. He was one of my favorite characters in Titans.
okay.
What else have we done? He was Raphael in the live action
Ninja
Teenage
Turtles.
Mutant Turtles. Yeah.
Ew.
Uh, Trying to think of what else he's done. And then like he's done a lot more like comedy stuff early in his career
Okay.
because he's definitely recently gotten to more like the action stuff. But he's definitely a good actor. I liked him in Reacher. So this would be interesting to see him as if they do go with him as Batman, because he could definitely do the brutality of Batman, but the Bruce Wayne aspect would definitely be interesting. It'd definitely be closer to like Batfleck than any of the other ones.
Okay. But yeah, let me pull up the slate real quick just to see, because it's been a while since I've looked at it and I'm kind of forgetting what's even
I was gonna say, yeah, I forgot to look at the slate, see what they had.
slate James Gunn. Hold on, I'm pulling it up now. All right, so the first thing, of course, is Superman Legacy. And then this. So, as far as movies go, there's Superman
Oh my
Legacy.
gosh, how could we forget Black Adam? I legit forgot about Black Adam.
I still have not seen Black Adam.
I haven't seen it either, but that was also one of those not well received either.
Yeah. Like, that
We were
was.
just talking about talking about the movies earlier that were released within last year, the year before that. Adam was one of the ones that started the downward trend after
Yeah.
having such promise of bringing The Rock in for that.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. What? That was one of two movies that came out that year. What was the other one that came out in 2022?
I think that was Shazam.
No? 22? Yeah, 22. Let me look and see. Because Shazam came out at the beginning of this past year. EU 2023.
But when did the Batman, or was it Suicide Squad?
That's what it is. It was the Batman, and then the Suicide Squad came out in 21.
James Gunn's Suicide Squad?
Yeah, that was 21.
Was it really that long ago? Wow.
Yeah. But as far as films go, there's Superman Legacy, The Authority, Batman Brave and the Bold, and the Supergirl movie. Oh, and Swamp Thing.
Thing, yeah.
And then for TV, there's Lanterns, the Wonder Woman show, and then Booster Gold.
Yeah, we're getting Booster Gold.
Yeah.
He's. I don't know too much about his comic book counterpart, but a lot of the recent depictions of him in movies or shows, I've never been fans of.
Really?
I don't know why. It's just his character, the way I guess is self-absorbed or whatever kind of cocky persona they've given him.
Yeah.
It just always kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
That's a character I know almost nothing about. Wasn't he like rumored to be brought into Legends of Tomorrow for the longest time at the beginning?
I mean, that would have made sense, being the time travel show, but I don't know if he did ever make an appearance. Or one of those, yeah, it was probably just hinted at, setting up the possibility too.
Yeah, I gave up on that show so early on. I had no interest in continuing that after midway through second season.
That's fair. I think that's kind of where I stopped. I think I followed it another season, but then I think apparently it got better the last couple seasons.
Really?
But yeah, you just got to get through. Was it the season 3 curse that plagued all the CW shows?
Oh, yeah.
Season 3 or season 4?
Yeah, that's true. But so yeah, they're doing Booster Gold, which honestly sounds a lot like Gunn's style. That doesn't surprise me that they went with that.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be a good film if Gunn's doing it, because yeah, that's definitely the kind of characters he likes doing.
Yeah. Oh, did you hear the rumor, or this might have even been confirmed at this point, I don't remember, that the director of The Flash is supposed to be doing the new Batman movie, Brave and the Bold?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which...
Who directed The Flash?
It's Andy something.
Andres Muschietti?
Oh, that's who it was. Which I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, because to be fair, that movie had so much behind the scenes drama before he ever got involved with it that I don't think it really matters who directed that movie. It was still going to turn out the mess it did. That being said, that being his only credit doesn't inspire a ton of confidence either.
Is it?
It's one of them. He hasn't done much else.
Well, he did It Chapter It 1 and It Chapter 2.
Oh, he did. Okay. I didn't know that.
But yeah, like you said, that's really his only outside of those, he has a couple of stuff he did in the early 2000s, but as far as acting credits, those are the only ones that are pretty much to his name.
Okay.
So that's what it kind of, two standout horror films, but then you got his one attempt at a comic book film is The Flash.
Yeah. But So have you been paying attention to a lot of the casting with Superman Legacy? Because that's kind of all we've got as far as casting goes confirmed right now. Um,
No. Who did they
um, so
cast?
it was David Corenswet as Superman, who was a big name going around online as far as like fan cast and stuff goes. Um, and if you look at a picture, he looks like physically, he looks just like Superman. Um,
Yeah, he does. Looking at a picture right now.
it was funny when he got cast. People were like, "Why did you cast someone who looks just like Henry Cavill?" And it's like, well, Henry Cavill looks just like Superman. So anyone you cast who looks just like Superman, you're
Yeah.
gonna compare to Cavill. But
Ooh, they got Nathan Fillion as Guide Gardner.
I know. I'm
That is a good one.
except he's been the voice of Hal Jordan in so much
Has he?
anime. Yes.
I didn't even realize.
It's like, why didn't you just cast him as Hal Jordan? But either way, that is still really good casting.
That's still a good cast.
Yeah.
I
Um,
need to watch more of Fillion stuff. I've barely watched any of his stuff other than like Guardians and the Suicide Squad.
I know that you're not a
The
big Whedon fan, but I watched through Firefly last year.
that's what I'm curious because I've heard good things about that one.
He is so good in it. He's the main guy. He's so good in that show.
Yeah, that The Rookie and Castle are the three Fillion shows I need to watch.
I've not watched those other two, but I'm curious to check them out because I liked him a lot in
I've gotten
Firefly.
clips of The Rookie on my TikTok for you page, and that's what from what I've seen, I would look like I would really enjoy the show.
Okay. Um, but yeah, he's Guy Gardner. Um, and then they've got not Metallo, Metamorpho. Um, they've got Mr. Terrific. They've got Hot Girl, and I'm assuming that all of those characters are just gonna be um, like not major. I'm assuming they're probably just gonna be smaller roles in that movie. I'd be kind of disappointed if it's like a big team movie type thing. I hope it's just they've got small like bit parts in it, and most of it is a Superman movie. Um,
Probably.
and then
I don't know. That's what I would hope it'd be too.
and then they got Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor and Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. I'm not familiar with the actress that they got for Lois, but Nicholas Holt is a Beast in the newer X-Men and Days of Future Past and stuff.
So it'd be interesting to see because with Holt, I can see him doing like a kind of like a Jesse Eisenberg kind of crazy crazy Lex Luthor.
Really?
That's what I could see him doing.
Okay.
Now, if he does like a serious one, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But I definitely think they would do the kind of like the Jesse Eisenberg
Okay.
uh Lex Luthor. That's definitely more his style. I feel like, especially after seeing him in Mad Max Fury Road, kind of doing like that deranged, crazy acting style.
Oh, I didn't even know he was in that one. Okay.
He's done a lot more than you think. Because there's a couple films I was looking at his list a couple days ago. I was like, he was in that film. Oh, he was. You know that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it usually it's kind of either like completely shaved, shaved his head, bald or whatnot, or a lot of makeup or whatever that hides him
Okay.
into it. But yeah, he does. Yeah, he's done a lot more than you think.
I hate when articles post like when news sites post fan art and act as if it's news, because I just had an article pop up that says Jensen Ackles is the DCU's Batman and joins David Corn sweats Superman, and I was like, oh, that's cool, especially since it's only from like 12 hours ago. I click on it, it's
Yeah,
just fan art. That's
yeah.
all it is.
I I saw that article too. I did. The headline I saw said art, but I still think Ackles would be a really good choice for Batman.
I think so too. Um, yeah, I'm that's kind of where I'm hoping they go for this one. I think that he, especially after watching the Long Halloween movies and seeing how well he does the performance just in voice acting, I think he'd be a great Batman.
I mean, he's already in uh the DC universe as like, just actors they could pull from previous films because yeah, Last Halloween and then also Under the Red Hood
Yeah.
being the man himself, the Red Hood, arguably those are some of his better works.
Yeah.
Why not bring him back? And I mean, he's all for doing like Batman and Red Hood. Man's even got costumes. He's done Halloween photo shoots
Oh, has he really? I haven't
in the
seen
Red Hood and
those.
Batman. Have you not seen those?
I've seen the Red Hood.
Yeah.
I didn't know he did Batman.
Oh yeah, dude, he did Batman. Oh, this would have been 2, 3 years now,
Oh, nice.
and it looks really good. Let's see, I'm gonna see if I can find a photo to send you. Or yeah, even if you just look up Jensen Ackles Batman. Let me see. Of course, everything that's coming up now is uh
Fan art and
all
stuff.
kinds of yeah. Yeah, here, hold on. I'm gonna let's see. See if I can send this to you over Discord. But it looks really, really good. I don't remember who did the suit for him, but him just showing up or like
Oh,
cosplaying as Batman is really, really good.
oh yeah, that is a good looking suit. Man, they could almost just tighten that up a little bit and like make it look slightly more armored, and that could be your Batman
I,
costume.
that is a quality suit.
That's a really good suit. Like you would not have to tweak much to make that.
You know
Your
what that suit reminds me of? Bat and Sons production kind of style suit.
Oh, I haven't watched their stuff in forever.
They haven't put out too much stuff. I know their biggest project was the Legend of the White Dragon? I think it was like a Power Rangers kind of dystopian Power Rangers thing. Had a bunch of Power Rangers actors, but that was heavily done with Jason David Frank, who unfortunately committed suicide last year, and that's what they really been. They doubled down on that as kind of like a homage to his works in television and whatnot,
Okay.
and as like his final send off. So also
Yeah,
they really kind of doubled down on that, and then I think the Superpower Beatdown series kind of took a backseat to that
I gotcha.
the past couple of years. So because those are some of my favorite videos they've done was Superpower Beatdowns and all that. But yeah, they've gone to more longer longer formatted shows or movies.
I gotcha. So I hate to interrupt the DC discussion, but an article just popped up for me that I just want to bring up the headline for real quick. You remember, you remember when Sony was announcing all their like Spider-Man movies that don't include Spider-Man, and they announced
Unfortunately, yeah.
and they announced the El Muerto movie A movie based off a character that has a total of 2 comic book appearances from like 2005 or something like that.
No,
Yeah. No, they
I do
announced
not. What is this?
they
El what?
El Muerto. The movie was supposed to release 2 days ago, and they didn't get anything other than an announcement and a main actor for it.
Huh.
I just thought that was hilarious. Madam Web's.
Oh, okay. I think I remember seeing this character. But they got Bad Bunny for it. That's funny.
I mean, it shouldn't be surprising that a movie that was greenlit um, solely based on the fact that they just flipped through a comic book and found a character that hadn't been adapted yet. It shouldn't be surprising that that movie hasn't made it out yet, but I just thought since we were 2 days past the original release date that I would mention that.
It's funny.
They never postponed it or anything like that. It just never happened.
Hmm.
Madam Web's still coming out though. I think that comes out in like a month for some reason. February 14th.
Actually, yeah, February 14th. Although I feel like watching the trailer, I feel like they ruined the end because they basically show who the villain is when it's
Yeah.
kind of supposed to be like a secret or whatnot.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't care for that movie that much, honestly.
I'll be curious to see how much that movie makes. Who would have expected that Sony would have the most superhero movies coming out in 2024? Because MCU only has Deadpool 3, and I think DC only has Joker 2. Like, I don't think either of them have any other movies coming out. And somehow, as of right now, Sony has Madam Web, Craven the Hunter, and Venom 3.
Interesting.
What a time to be alive. So, anyway, back to the topic at hand. Um, um, Lanterns is supposed to be coming out on HBO Max as a series after Legacy. Um, and Gunn has confirmed that Fillion will be in that show just as a like small supporting role. He's not going to be one of the main actors, but it's probably going to follow along it is for sure going to follow along Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart as the main two lanterns. So immediately, that's the thing that I'm probably most excited for. I think that that could potentially be probably the coolest thing they put out as a lantern show. Actually going into like the mythology of the lanterns and all of that stuff. I think that could be really. I think that that for me is the thing that's most exciting.
Oh yeah, doing a who done it Lantern Corps. 'Cause, yeah, there's a lot of history and a lot of characters there that could potentially do something.
Yeah.
I just hope they don't go the easy route and set this like before Sinestro becomes a Yellow Lantern, and that's how he becomes a Yellow Lantern. You know, it's like he does like kills somebody or whatnot, and that's like at the end of the show he shows him becoming a Yellow Lantern because that just seems like a major cop out.
Like not actually doing it first season.
Yeah, not necessarily first season, because I definitely want it to be a, have someone like Kilowog done it, some like or some random character, not the big obvious, Sinestro, the one who did it.
I
Because
gotcha.
obviously Sinestro is always the big bad in every Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do him. Choose some other character. Have like the Guardians mess up and do something morally wrong for once.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
But
think
yeah, all we know is just a mystery, so or a mystery storyline. So it could be anything. It couldn't even be a whodunit.
hmm yeah. I'm I'm really excited for that one. And then the others, I don't have too much of a strong opinion for. Um, the Authority could be cool. I don't know anything about that team or those comics or anything, so that could be cool. Um,
The Authority.
they're like some, I don't even know what they are. They're like I guess they're kind of like the alternative, like hardcore alternate Justice League type thing. I think, um, maybe.
So kind of like what the Thunderbolts are to uh Thunderbolts to the Avengers.
Yeah, kind of. I think. Um, yeah, I don't know anything about that. I've heard rumors that they could be in Superman Legacy as one of the villains or the villain, but I don't know that for sure. I think that is just rumors at this point. Um, but yeah, if you were in charge of DC, what would be the first thing that you greenlit for them that's not already on this slate?
Uh,
I think I know your answer.
that's not on the slate.
Yeah.
Like, am I working with like what am I working with? Like the new stuff, or can I just do like my own thing?
Um,
Or I say my own thing, like bring Snyder back and continue his works.
I mean, they do have like they are doing the whole Elseworlds thing, where stuff like Joker and the Batman and all of that stuff is where they're not part of like the main continuity. They're part of like their own standalone thing. So I guess you could do that with Snyder.
Because my thing would be do Justice League 2 following Snyder's version and doing like Apocalypse War,
Okay.
continuing that storyline between Darkseid and the Justice League. Now that they're on his radar,
Okay.
that or we doubled down on the nightmare sequences from BVS and Snyder Cut. You know, double that on that and tell an Injustice storyline set in that universe.
I gotcha.
Those would be stuff I would want to do rather than obviously some of the stuff they've put out. But what about you? What would you greenlit that already hasn't been?
Um, well, if I were doing it as part of the new universe that's coming out, let me just say that that's not what I was expecting you to say. I was totally expecting you to do a Nightwing thing in the new universe.
Well, the issue is I'm trying to think because there's really no because everything in the DCU is still built off of BVS and Snyder, or at least that storyline that was partially created. The issue is in that universe, Dick Grayson's dead,
Yeah.
so we can't necessarily do a Nightwing film set in the quote unquote current storyline. And based off of what we're seeing, they have no interest in bringing Dick Grayson in. They're jumping straight to Damian. So
Well,
I mean, they could do like the Injustice storyline and have Damian be Nightwing, but eh,
well,
not the same.
from what I've heard, the doing Damien is supposed to be like the Bat family already exists and they're possibly going to bring the rest of them in there. So it's not Damian in the place of Dick Grayson or Jason Todd or Tim Drake. It's they've already been Robin and graduated from that and are now their own things, and now we're at Damian, is at least how I understand what they're doing. So there is potential for um, Nightwing in the new universe, I think. And I want to say Gunn or someone else behind the scenes has already confirmed that that's the direction, but I don't know for sure. So I don't think they're continuing on with the Dick Grayson is dead, but I could be wrong.
I mean, that'd be an interesting story to continue with. Because obviously, in most other universes, Dick Grayson's alive.
Yeah,
So why not, follow one of these universes where he's dead?
yeah,
Obviously, the main one kind of being the Injustice storyline, but let's go off the beaten path and write our own kind of story.
I gotcha.
Although, that can be hit or miss depending on who's writing and directing, but
As far as what I would do, I would do this in the new continuity. And okay, so there are two things that I love from DC that were both horribly handled in recent years. That's the Flash and the Justice Society. Um, and I don't know which one of them I hate the interpretation of worse. I don't know if I
what do
just
they do with JSA?
they were in Black Adam, and they were
Oh, that's right. They kind of were, yeah.
working for Amanda Waller, which doesn't piss me off quite as much as having Superman work for Amanda Waller does, but it's close. So I'd probably go with the JSA movie and make Jay Garrick the main character. Um, have it be set probably in World War II. Um, is the way that I would do it.
I was
And
gonna say the ones from Black Adam, are they usually in the lineup
yet
for JSA?
they're all characters who are part of the lineup. Hawkman and Doctor Fate are both founding members of the team, and then Atom Smasher and Cyclone were both characters that were brought in much later on. Um, it's just a
Okay.
very it's just a very weird selection of characters. Like Hawkman and Doctor Fate, again, they're founding members. Those make sense, but like Atom Smasher and Cyclone are two very weird characters to adapt
Yeah.
for your first ever Justice League or a Justice Society thing. Um, but I would, of course, they were doing Justice Society on the Stargirl show at the same time that movie was being made, so they probably didn't want to use the same characters that were being used on that,
Probably.
um, which is probably why they went with such a weird cast. But
Makes sense.
yeah, but I would do a more traditional JSA movie set during World War II with Jay Garrick as the main character.
Is that usually when their stories take place?
Usually, it's usually either World War II or Earth 2. It's one of those. Um,
Okay.
so I think it would be cool to do World War II and have them kind of be like the inspiration for modern day superheroes. Um,
That's what I always thought they were. Was kind of the World War II precursors to the Justice League.
yeah. Uh, yeah, that would be what I would do. Um, and then that way you can get kind of like both angles of like, I'm fixing the JSA and I'm also fixing the Flash because Jay Garrick's the main character. Um,
So would you have Jay Garrick do Flashpoint, or just have him as like the main character Flash and
just have him as the main
continue on the
character.
storyline? No reboot.
No. Um, no, I just think a simple story set in World War II is probably the best way to handle that. And you can do some sort of like if you want to continue them on in like the present day, you know, Captain America it and find some way to like displace them in time or something like that, or just have a whole series of movies set in the 40s and in the 50s after the war too.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Reminds me of another one of Snyder's films, The Watchmen.
Yeah. Which I
Right,
still haven't.
ragtag group of heroes fighting in World War II. Get to Vietnam, and everybody's like, "Nah, peace. Screw the superheroes."
I still have not watched Watchmen. I'm so.
You need to. I think you would enjoy it.
I've heard that some of his that's one of his better movies.
Oh yeah,
Um, and I've heard that from people who don't like Snyder as well. So I'd probably
it's a classic.
lean more on the positive side of that one. But I still need to get around to it. The problem is that there's like 3 or 4 different cuts of that movie, and I'm not sure which one to watch. And one of
Is
them
there?
is like 4 hours long. Yeah, there's 2 or 3 cuts of it. Let me see. Let me look that up real quick.
Because I'm only ever familiar with what am I thinking of? Whatever's on HBO Max.
There's 3 different versions. There's the theatrical cut, the director's cut, and then the ultimate cut. Um, so I don't know which. I guess I need to look up which one of them I need to watch if I'm going to watch that movie. Um, but yeah, I need to get around to that one here soon.
I think the only thing I'm really seeing is, um, if you really want to get a sense of the story, the theatrical is fine, and then it's the director and ultimate cut is if you are familiar with the source material, in which there's a couple scenes that are added in those that are straight kind of from the source material.
I gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
So
Um,
if you're just coming at it from wanting to watch a movie and don't care about the source material as much, the theatrical is the way to go.
well, I was gonna say I probably need to read the graphic novel first, um,
I mean, eh.
possibly.
I haven't read the graphic novel, so it really kind of depends.
Okay. But yeah,
That's what it looks like. Yeah, the director is more faithful to the graphic novel. So
okay. All right. Well, do you have anything else? Because I've kind of said, is there
say
any,
what you wanted to say.
yeah, is there anything that I'm missing? Like,
Uh,
I don't really have much to say about some of the other projects like the Paradise Lost or Supergirl or anything like that.
no, because I mean, given the state of the DCU and what their plan is, obviously there's nothing real definitive coming out within the next couple of years. Given their track record, it's really kind of hit or miss on whether they do good or not. So it's just one of those we just don't get our hopes up like we used to with some movies
Yeah.
because we know we go in with low expectations, and when they meet that expectations, and it's eh, nothing too mind blowing.
I think that if Superman Legacy is good, which I have hopes for because I like James Gunn quite a bit from the stuff I've seen from him. I like his Guardians movie. I really like the Suicide Squad. Um, if that movie ends up being good, then I think that we can raise our hopes a little bit. But until then, I'm trying to remain like cautiously optimistic. Like I want to be excited, but
James Gunn's confirmed the director for Superman Legacy.
yep, he's writing and directing it, which he did for uh, all 3 Guardians and the Suicide Squad.
Ooh, okay. Don't know how I feel about that.
Me neither, because his movies don't immediately feel like Superman movies.
Yeah.
But I could see it working depending on which way he goes. If he does it a lot more in the vein of the Suicide Squad, I think that that could. As much as I like that movie, I don't think that would work for Superman.
No, 'cause Superman is not a comic-y character.
Yeah.
That's what I don't. Eh. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's definitely weird. For gun to direct, but I don't know. Well, obviously, we'll see how that comes out. But yeah, I don't have high hopes for that, especially since they're not bringing back Big H.
Yeah.
I'm a Big H diehard, so you know the DCU died when Cavill left, so you know that's my stance on things.
And like I said, I tend to be more optimistic towards this, but that's also because I wasn't a fan of a lot of the stuff that came before. So, like, I'm just hoping that maybe this will be more in line with what I want from these characters. But if Superman Legacy isn't good, then I will definitely lose a lot of that optimism that I'm already cautiously got. Um,
Yeah,
because I think that that's kind of going to be the big tell about the direction that that could be going. Of course, Gunn's only producing everything. He's not like writing and directing everything. He's only doing that for Superman. So if they get the right writing and writers and directors on some of these other projects, um, you could get the individual like really good one or individual like really bad one. But I think that legacy will be the big tell for how it's going to go in the future.
yeah. I don't know. The shows might be okay since they're all coming out on HBO.
Yeah.
HBO usually has a good understanding of what their fans want, so
Mm-hmm.
there's hope.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see.
I
Because yeah, it looks like everything's coming out 2025, so
well
we at least still got another year.
that's when Legacy's coming out. I don't think anything else is confirmed for that year yet.
What am I seeing? Batman Part 2, Creature Commandos, summer of 2025, Waller, summer 2025. So,
Okay, but I don't think
and
those
then
are.
everything else I'm seeing is TVA.
Yeah. Um, so we'll see. But I don't know. I am still more optimistic for DC than I am for MCU or Star Wars right now, which isn't saying much because I feel like both of those franchises are kind of just being run into the ground. Um, but we'll see.
We'll see. Did you see? We got a Mandalorian and Grogu movie that just got announced.
That is the one thing from Star Wars that I'm like, that could be good. I think that has a good potential to be pretty decent since Jon Favreau's directing that one. And I didn't realize that apparently he wasn't part of season 3 of Mando at all. He wasn't involved with.
Favreau, was it?
No, he wasn't. It was all Filoni that season.
Huh.
So I think that that could potentially
Oh,
be
because
why
I
that
guess
season.
Favreau did have a more involved character in that season because
So
he is Paz Vizsla, right?
yeah,
So that's what obviously his character had a little more action in the show. So that's probably what that was. Kind of like how with Iron Man 3, he stepped back from directing to take a bigger role as Happy.
yeah.
So that's probably what that was then.
Yeah, so as far as Star Wars goes, that's like the big thing that I think could be really good. None of their other projects have got me interested at this point. They did finally confirm Ahsoka season 2, so that's
Oh
nice.
yeah, I would hope so. I would have hoped they would have done that based off of season one where they left off.
I'm shocked it took this long. Um,
I
I
mean, I think everyone knew that it was coming.
Yeah, I would just be surprised. I was just surprised that you'd end off on such a big, like, where do you even go from here type cliffhanger and then not confirm anything for 3, 4 months. I thought that was really weird.
So,
But
yeah, because what was I guess when we did that podcast, they hadn't announced it, so I guess we were all speculating how they were going to do it, what they were going to touch on. I think
yeah.
if I remember that podcast correctly.
Yeah, we were like, we don't even know if we're gonna get a season 2. Like, are they gonna tie up these loose ends in a movie? Are they gonna, like, how are they gonna do that? So,
Oh,
it,
that's right. Yeah, because nothing was going to tie into that part of the timeline.
right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I remember now.
So I'm glad to know that that story will be continuing somehow. I'm glad that will
Right.
be, yeah.
Because that is definitely a terrible way of ending a really good show and not picking it up.
Yep. Yeah. But we'll see. Um, yeah, we'll see.
Yep.
I don't have much as far as these big three that I'm anticipating right now. Did you watch any of the Disney Plus Doctor Who stuff
No,
yet?
because I need to go back and watch Capaldi. Capaldi's where I stopped
Okay.
with that, so I still need to go through Capaldi, uh, the female doctor, and then catch up on
Wa-
where we're at.
Watch Capaldi and then just watch like the explained videos on YouTube for the Whitaker seasons. Like, don't even watch those seasons because they're so bad.
They that bad? Wow,
Yes,
interesting.
just watch the explained um, any videos like explaining it because you will probably enjoy it a lot more than I did.
Oof, that's rough.
But I did watch the specials and I have mixed opinions about them.
That's
Um,
what I've heard. So a lot of people had kind of had mixed.
yeah,
They're either oh, this is really good, or kind of too woke for me, kind of thing's what I've heard. So
yeah. I
it'll be interesting to see when I get around to it.
hmm
'Cause I've been wanting to go back and watch Doctor Who some more.
I will say I did really like the Christmas special that they did. It was easily the best of the 4 specials. That's the one that's all focused on the new Doctor. I thought that that episode was really good, but I have issues with the 3 specials involving David Tennant and Catherine Tate, unfortunately.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Um, but
Well, I guess I have to watch them now, so that way we can do another podcast discussing our criticism and comments.
yeah, watch them whenever you want and let me know because I'd love to talk about them.
I'll
I,
see what I can do.
I will say that during the first special, um, I turned it off with like 10 minutes left because it made me so upset. I'm like,
Wow.
I can't watch this anymore. And then the next day I was like, I gotta finish it because I know I'm gonna want to watch the next 2 specials, and so I finished
Was it
it.
just like bad writing, or too emotional, or what?
It was really bad writing.
Oof.
I I won't give anything away, but they undid a big thing from a past season in the stupidest way possible, and it really pissed me off.
See, I hate retconning and changing the story
Yep,
just because they can. That's always one of my biggest pet peeves when shows like retcon or do stuff like that.
yep,
I really hate it. I really do.
yeah. It made me really mad. Um, I like things about those specials. I think the third one with Neil Patrick Harris as the villain, I thought that one was overall pretty decent up until the ending. But yeah,
Huh.
I'd be curious
Interesting.
to talk about them with you. Um, because Priscilla and I are still really early on in Doctor Who, so I don't have anyone to really talk about that with.
Like how early? Y'all started back in season 1 of uh the first generation, or you started at 9 and start from there?
We started her with Eccleston.
Okay.
We're on season 2 right now with David Tennant. So
Did Eccleston only have one season?
yeah, he only got the one season.
Okay.
Um,
Which is a shame because I liked him as a doctor. Unfortunately, he sounded like he had some bad experiences on production, so he's not ever coming back.
I've only recently learned about like how bad it was. It was really bad.
Yeah.
Um, to the point where he quit, and the BBC basically blacklisted him from ever getting work in London again, which is why he refuses to come back. Um,
Yeah,
like
because I don't think he has anything major to his name after that.
no, he's
Other
only
than trying to think, other than like the one G.I. Joe. He was in Dark World,
yeah, I feel
but
bad for him because he was great casting for that villain, and he gets nothing to do.
yeah, it looks like he's had a couple small roles here and there, but yeah, nothing stand out,
Yeah,
which is a shame.
no, he's a great actor. He has started to come back and do like audio dramas for Doctor Who, but he hasn't had any desire to come back on the show. And I doubt he will at this point with Russell T Davies running it again.
That's what I heard was they basically got to fire or get rid of that original crew for
Hmm.
him to come back.
Yeah, it's a shame, but we got Tenet because of it, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, but that'll probably have to be another episode whenever I get caught up, I guess.
Yeah, let me know whenever you want to talk about Doctor Who because I'm always open to talking about that.
Okay.
But yeah, all right. Well, um, I've got to call it for today. I've got somewhere to be in just a little bit. So
Okay.
thank you all for listening. Hope you enjoyed getting 2 episodes within the span of a week. I can't get.
Hopefully we can keep this up. I would like to.
I would I would like to as well. I am about to start a new job in 2 weeks. So
Oh, really? Where at? You
um,
haven't told me about this.
no, it literally just happened like the other day after we shot our last episode. Um, 84 Lumber as a management
Okay.
position. So
Okay. That's cool.
yeah, so I don't know how that will affect recording schedules, but hopefully we can keep this at least somewhat consistent.
Hopefully. I would hope so.
But yeah, thank you all for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed. Well, actually, I'll let Michael take the outro.
I get the outro duties?
You get the
Yes.
outro this time.
Darn, I'm all out of Celsius. I can't hype it up as much as I'd like to. But oh well.
Dang.
Thank you guys for listening to the podcast. As always, this has been my co-host Caleb. Caleb, say bye.
Bye, everyone.
And me, Michael.
Bye,
I'll see you guys
Michael.
in the next one. Bye.
Bye.